Oh, are we working? Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Oh,
can.
excellent.
You're looking
Oh,
good. Look at that
that's
excellent lighting.
that is not a you're looking good. That's very sweet of you. That's very, very kind. The last couple of weeks, I got to the point today where I looked in the mirror and I was kind of like, oh, the beard's finally coming back in a bit. I don't feel so much like a bowling ball from the depths of hell. It's this most horrible thing about being your own hairdresser is when you fuck up. You have no one to blame but yourself. So, and then it's weeks and weeks where you look in the mirror and just think, I did that to myself. It's just awful. But it's coming
Oh
back.
man.
It's coming
Oh
back.
man. That's great. Anyhow, the
Uh,
renovation's coming.
yeah,
I'm
no kidding.
enjoying the videos.
Oh, so well, thank you very much for doing this.
Of course, my pleasure.
You have the unique distinction of being the first lady on the podcast.
How nice.
And you also, I'm reading this straight off of your Facebook page, but
Mhm.
today we have Nina Wilder with us, comedian, actor, writer, producer, personal trainer, fitness instructor, yoga teacher. It's interesting that the first four are related and the bottom three are related. And I also like that you wrote comedienne, the feminine form of
Yeah, it's true.
comedian.
That's
It's retro, it's
sounds.
borderline sexist.
It sounded fancy.
You know what? It's fun. Well, it's so funny because like when people talk about like it's like there's a hero of the story and then there's the heroine.
Yes,
Well, that doesn't sound quite right, does it?
that
Like
doesn't sound right at all.
I'm rooting for the heroine. Wait, hang on. This is a
But
bad
like
idea.
there's certain terms where it's like inappropriate now. Like you don't call like a stewardess or a waitress are kind of on the cusp
Yeah.
of like those are, sexist terms now, which, I guess
The
is
waitress
understandable.
one,
I don't know. I don't know.
well, even waiter, like people don't want to be called waiter, right?
Oh yeah, server.
Which,
It's server.
well, but that doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't
That's so much closer to servant,
know.
isn't
That's a
it?
good point. That's a good
It's silly. It's ridiculous.
point.
I don't know, man.
uh,
They're very, very strange. Um, so I'm looking well, as you said, but you always look well. You're always very radiant and bubbly and joyful and happy. If I had
I'm
one
not
criticism, one criticism of you is that you're just not positive enough and you don't do enough stuff because you're constantly on Instagram and you're constantly filming something or doing something or putting on a show or
I feel like, yeah, I feel like lately I've been more Instagram heavy, which is actually a bit different for me because before I never got on board with social media as much. Like I do maybe the one-off thing, but I never was the type. I find it really cumbersome to even be on my phone for any length of time. I'm always behind in messages. I've got like 10 texts, 19 messengers. I'm always behind. I find I just find the phone like stressful. You know what I mean? Like I just
mm,
rather engage person to person, and I've gotten in trouble for that with numerous people in the past. But I think after December, when I got really into a depressed spot. I just found that I was spending so much time alone, being COVID and all this kind of stuff, that it was just sort of this one thing to express, like
mhm.
one mode. I never had the outlet of being in a social situation to express myself, and so I used that medium, and I got a lot back from it. Like I got messages from friends, family, strangers telling me their stories, and it was just so enriching that I think a little bit of me just got addicted to that feeling of like, oh, I'm engaging people.
Yeah.
So ever since then I've become a little social media star.
Well, I find it is useful. It is very useful because I understand exactly what you're saying with there's no outlet. Like
Mhm.
when I'm working and we have our teams meetings, I'm literally there's my supervisor on the mic. I'm
Yeah.
the only one on video consistently. I'm the only one on video. Everybody else
Isn't
has got their
that
cameras
weird?
turned off
Does
and
it
they
just
just got
feel
their
like that's like a
goofy.
peeping show?
You know how many times I'll be sitting there in a meeting and I'll lean back and I go like this and I'm like, oh no, my armpits, because I'm constantly hot all the time because
Yeah.
I'm a ugh. My wife pushes me away. Get away from me! You're so hot. Stop! Get off me!
Are you going through menopause? What's
Well,
going on?
that's the thing. Someone else might be.
Oh, don't tell her. Let her figure it out.
Um, it is weird, you know. They say like, oh, you got one sun in the sky. If you got two of them together, they start spinning around each other a little too quick. But yeah, no, like I'll be the only one, and then it'll be me talking. It'll be our main supervisor, and then maybe two other people of a team of 9.
Yeah.
And very often I end up, depending on the day, I might end up taking over the meeting for a little while, just yakety yak like an asshole.
You're like, now that I have you all here.
Yeah, exactly. But it's terrible because everyone's got their microphones muted, so it's like I'm bombing for like 3 minutes. I'm like, well, why should this be any different from the rest of my life?
Well, good. You know, you need your soul regularly crushed as you used to.
Agreed.
That's funny. I
So
remember
okay.
when my mom went through menopause, she would always randomly just go from normal to like shirt off, standing outside.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom's what is she? She's 71? 71 now, and
Yeah.
she's still going through bits of it.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I'm
Yeah.
so looking forward to getting older.
Yeah. It's like that's the one thing. Well, the one thing. There's lots of things that I look at. I'm going, thank God I'm not a woman. But that's one of them that I look at and I'm go, oh, geez, you got to go through puberty backwards. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. I can't imagine if a man had to go through puberty backwards. It's like I'm gonna start wetting the bed again. What the fuck? I don't understand.
Well, actually, I was talking to an acting friend of mine, Grant, who's I think he's 56 or 57, and he was doing some voice work for Gremlins. And well, we got to talking, and he was saying that normally men actually start losing testosterone. They stop creating as much testosterone after a certain point, and he has since he was 45, he just noticed his muscle gains were going down. He was getting foggy all the time. He kept bumping his head. He just like all these things started happening. And he's been since then, I think for like a year now, he's been buying testosterone off Amazon and doing testosterone replacement therapy. And world of difference. Apparently, he's just like, it's night and day. He's got energy, his musculature is back, he's sleeping better, he's thinking
Hmm.
faster, like all these things. So he's like, every man should be on this. So I was like,
Dude,
whoa.
yeah,
But Amazon,
yeah. That's a little scary. That's a
I
little bit
know he's
scary.
buying needles of hormones.
Okay, yeah. See, that was going to be my question. That was going to be my question because I've heard of people doing like creams and things, and then
Mm-mm-mm.
it's like through
These
the
are
skin. That's
these
he's
are
sticking.
injections.
Oh, I don't know if I could do that. Not
Down to use
myself.
apparently.
Going to the doctor and having them, once a month or something like that. I'm sure I could do that. Also, I don't think I could have that like a supply of that at home because it's like, well, a little bit was good.
It's
How about a little more? How about a little more? How about another little more? Oh, my heart exploded and I'm dead. Like, I don't know if I could trust myself like that. I have been wondering. Well, okay. I said to my doctor, I'm like, I don't know. I think maybe my testosterone's kind of going down, and I'm feeling so much more emotional lately. And he
My
gave me
voice
a.
is going up.
It just goes up. I don't understand why. And he gave me a thing. He's like, go get a blood test, right? I don't like needles, so
Oh no.
that blood test requisition has been sitting on my computer
Oh
desk for
man.
about 7 months.
Yep.
Because it's one of these comprehensive, oh, you're getting older type ones too, right? So you can't eat,
Oh.
which is not usually a problem. I generally don't eat until like noon anyway, but you could still, but I would have to like be up in the morning and be like mentally prepared to be, and I'd
Yeah.
have to tell them, like, I don't know how you are with, like, I've never given blood. Have you given blood?
First time actually was last year
Yeah.
ever. I was nervous because I thought, I mean, I'm not great with me. Like, I mean, if you stab me and I don't look, I'll be fine. But I think it was just the idea of having my blood taken out of me. That's
Mhm.
actually, I had a lot of blood tests because I had my period in 9 years, right? So I had all these tests done, and so they regularly take vial after vial, and that kind of made me squeamish. It was like the act of like taking blood out of me, and I'm like, hey, that should be in my body. Like, that
That's
was more of the
mine.
problem. Yeah, you can stab me all you want, but hey, that's mine. But you know what? You you feel a small pinch. That's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
I'm I have to be lied down
Fair
when I
enough.
when I get a blood test. And I've
Yeah.
had it once where I was in there and interestingly enough, that was the one that was in a period of time where I was taking these drugs because I had some kind of infection that you had to take drugs for. But the drugs were
Yeah.
really hard on your liver. So every month I would have to go and get a blood test for like
Oh,
6 months straight. Right. So
oh,
I was like
yeah.
probably 4 or 5 months in, like I was getting to the point where I'm like, okay, this is all right now. I'm kind of used to it. And I go in there and it's different women in the place that I've never seen before. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to have to wait for the bed. And so, oh, there's
Yeah.
someone in there right now. There's someone in there right now. Just come and sit in the back in the chair and we'll do. I'm like, no, no, you need to lie me down. It's like, no,
Yeah.
no, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And I'm like, I know myself. I have,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, but for whatever reason, like she really badgered me. And I'm like, okay, 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 fine. I'll go and I'll sit down. And I'm sitting in the chair. And it's like one of those half high school like
Of
desks.
course. Yeah. The little desk. Yeah.
So my arm's there and I'm like looking away. I'm wiggling my toes, all the little bullshit tricks you do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
she's like, stick me. Okay. And she pulls the blood and she's like, okay, see, now hold that there. See, no problem. You're fine. And in my head, I'm thinking, yep, 3, 2, black. Everything went black. I slid right out the thing onto the floor. People
Oh,
beside me, all I can, because when you pass out like that, your body doesn't work. You can't
no,
see,
exactly.
but you can still hear. So I hear all these people screaming because I've now hit the floor. And the other
Uh,
thing about this day was they had all women that I like all
no.
nurses that I've never seen before, and they seemed to have just. It was like only nurses under 4'8" day. Like every single nurse. I don't know how they got me into the room, but they
We
dragged
represent.
totally, totally. They had to. They must have each taken a limb and dragged me into the room that I had said I needed to be in the first place. And I woke up in the dark on the floor, and I kind of got
On the
up, and I'm like,
floor because they
on the
couldn't.
floor. They couldn't
Oh,
pick
because
me
they
up.
couldn't lift you. Oh, frick.
So it's like,
Wow.
so yeah, now it's like, no, you can't badger me. Just, I'll wait. I'll wait for the room. Thank you.
That's so frustrating. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's no fun. But what are you gonna do? I'm just a sissy, I'm a sissy boy. I can't handle
Well,
anything.
my mom had panic attacks for the longest time, and it's since made sure her major ones happened when she was getting her hair done, and one when she was getting her teeth a dental cleaning.
Hmm.
So since then, she's been very uncomfortable in those chairs. Whenever she feels like locked in a chair with like staff over her, she can't do it. So they have to sit her. She had to go to this dentist that was the only dentist that understood, so they could sit her up a little bit, so they wouldn't actually have to work her down here because she would
Right.
just go like so.
Oh,
I mean, it's yeah, it is what it is. You as long as you know yourself, they should respect that you should know your boundaries. Like, just that drives me crazy.
yeah, you'd think. Do you have any like panic attacky type things or?
I've only ever had one major panic attack, and it was because it was also in a medical setting. I was working for Vancouver Fringe Fest as the volunteer coordinator. So I was the one hiring them. It's like 500 people, right? So you're
Mhm.
managing a whole bunch of people, and it was the day of the festival. So my shift was like 6 to 11, and I had to be on the headset and make sure everyone's arriving a shift on time, cover it, send people various locations. So it was a hectic job. But that morning, I had gone to a doctor for another round of depression, and the mistake I made was my mom came with me, and the thing was that the doctor at the time, I thought it was going to be my GP, but it was this woman that was training under her, and she left me alone with this woman in training who had no bedside manner. Let's just say that. So she starts asking me questions with my mom beside me, like, So, she's like on her computer. She's like, so have you ever harmed yourself? Have you ever thought about suicide? Like super cold, super. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I can't answer these questions in front of my mom. Like just so I was like, I can't do this right now. And so I get up to leave and she physically stopped me. And I was like, no,
Wow.
I need you to move so I can get out of the room. I've told you. But she wouldn't. And then my GP came in and blocked me even further. And so I just, for some reason, it was just triggered me because I was in a bad state. These people were blocking my exit. So I just went rabid animal. I'm like, get out of my way.
Yeah.
I left, calmed down. But then I had went to my shift that night thinking I'm fine. But then I started, this is the weirdest thing, Walter. I started going numb,
Yeah.
which was then like, I thought I felt fine, but then my hands went completely numb. And I was like bashing them on tables, like, this is weird. So I calmly turned to my coworker, take off my headset, bring out my wallet, take out my ID, and I hand it to him. And I'm like, I need you to call a code white. This is a medical thing for radio codes. So that was to shut the channel up so that they could call the ambulance. So I'm like, I need you to call code white. Tell them a 27-year-old female is experiencing numbness that's traveling up her thing. She has no history of this. She has no idea what's going on. Otherwise, she's allergic to nothing. You got all that? Yeah, good. Black.
Yeah. Oh wow. That's 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 intense. That's quite just holy shit.
That was wacky. I woke up like a rabid animal though. Like I woke up, the room was suddenly from bustling, it was completely clear. And I remember my boss, Angie, she was sitting there staring at me because I think she had seen this before. I had no idea what was going on. And she's just like, Nina, I just want you to know you're safe and I'm not going to leave your side. I'm like, why are you panicking? And then I took a breath and it was like, and I just like, I could not, it was like I was afraid for my entire life. And then medical personnel came in, the very trigger that I had. So I just clutched Angie by the shoulder. I'm like, don't leave me with them.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I have a thing against doctors.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I mean, fair enough. Some doctors are ridiculous,
Aren't
but
they? Oh my
that's a
God.
terrible. That's a terrible. Don't leave me with a trainee. Oh my
For
gosh.
that, for that.
Yeah, for
You'll
that.
figure it out.
That's so weird. And then the whole like, no, we're gonna keep you in the room because that'll calm you down. By all means, corner me.
Right.
That's how I
Oh,
get calm. Is when I'm cornered and think someone might start dissecting me. Yeah, who knows? Oh,
yeah, right.
I
And
had.
just like you, it's surprising to me how many doctors, like, don't get me wrong, I acknowledge that doctors have, like, they don't know everything. And that I think that's okay. I think it's an okay thing to admit, but from being a personal trainer, I know they know nothing about exercise science. One, two is like, I think they know nothing about mental health. And I
Yeah,
think they need to admit it.
yeah, yeah.
Because it's
And
awful.
and generally, a lot of them don't know very much about nutrition either. Like
It's like,
well, this is the problem. Everything's so specialized, right? Everyone's so
yeah.
even your general practitioner, well, here's a good kind of a corollary, I guess. That's a big word. I've never used that ever.
How nice.
um, I don't even know if I used it right. Anyway,
Do you read?
um not really. uh a friend of mine, a friend, coworker, former supervisor, he
Hmm.
had we worked in animation, and he had a freaking degree, a bachelor's degree in psychology. And I'm
Hmm.
like, well, why didn't you did you want to be a therapist? He's like, yeah, I really wanted to be a therapist. I'm like, well, why didn't you be a therapist? He's like, the grades you need to get a PhD in psychology are insane. Like you have to have like a 4.0 forever. And even
Oh,
then, that's just to be allowed to apply to get your PhD. And he said that all the people that he knew, see, it's the thing with like, that's the thing with psychology, is like, you might be really good at being book smart,
yeah.
but maybe you don't have any empathy. You know what I mean? Like maybe
That's
some of these people don't have any empathy. Like a doctors, especially, like there's a lot of doctors that they say are, especially like people like surgeons and neurologists and things like that, specialties.
mm,
They're all like wicked high somewhere on the spectrum
yeah.
because,
That makes total sense.
right?
Like,
So like when they say, "Oh, doctor doesn't have any bedside manner," yeah, he doesn't really know what bedside manner is. It's
right.
not a part of their DNA.
And I'm okay with that. You know, when you're a specialist and you're high up there, like I think it's
Yeah.
good that you're not bogged down by emotions to screw you up. Because I mean, I know I could never be a surgeon. I'd just be like, oh my God, this person must be hot. You know. But when you're a nurse or when you're a GP, you are directly dealing with people, and it's like we think that health is only the physical symptoms, but it's like, I'm sorry, if you don't treat the person like a person, they're gonna walk out of the room like more fucked up than they
Yeah.
went.
Yeah. That's a weird.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
I love my doctor. My doctor's good. He's great to me.
Yeah. Okay.
But
He's good to me.
at the same time, it's like, yeah, well, there's a reason it's called a practice, right? Like, it's not.
Keep practicing.
Well, they are. They're practicing. That's why I kind of like applying that to comedy. It's like this. We should call this a practice because you don't get better without doing it over and over and over again,
This is
and
true.
making it better. Like, you can call it an art. Yes, it's an art, but it's more. I think there's a hell of a lot more practice that has to go into it.
Well, in acting, instead of saying good luck, we say break legs. I think we should just call it that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Go break a leg. Yeah. You're either an
Go break your
actor.
spirit.
I always love that. I always love the go break. Like go break a leg thing because it always made me feel like, well, you're either an actor or a gangster. It's one of the two. Like you're either collecting money for the mob or you're gonna go try and be a character on a stage or something, right? Oh,
That's great.
too hilarious. So I watched your 60 seconds Gremlin thing.
Oh, what did you
Now,
think?
okay, I'm gonna have to watch it again because for some reason when I was trying to watch it, I think it was maybe something wrong with my phone or something, but there was no sound.
Oh,
And I was like, well, this is clearly not right. So I was going to try and do it again. And then I kind of got caught up with other things. But the graphics actually looked really good. And the characters, the people you got to play those characters, a bunch of them look a bit like those characters in the movie. And it was
that
like,
was the hope. Yeah.
I was like, this is pretty fucking cool. So what is that? What was that for? That was for,
So the CFox 1 minute film contest has you choose ideally a film that everybody knows or is popular, cult favorite or something like this, and you have to redo the whole plot in 1 minute, tell the story in 1 minute. So we did try and choose. So I was approached by Kyle Natali, who did the VFX and who was also running the camera, and he's actually won a few of these contests in the past. Super talented. He ran a sketch film channel called Mega Steak Man for the longest time, way back in probably early 2010s or something like this. It's really great. Like if you check out, he's got one where he did a trailer for a fake movie, Pokemon Apocalypse, which was set which plot line was that what if Pokemon were used for like, those sort of underground like
fighting?
chicken fight
Yeah, yeah,
style
yeah.
things. Like
Isn't that what it is though?
yeah, technically. So they're like animal abuse is all about this and da da da. So Ash is being paid by like the mob to like make Pikachu lose some fights to like up their wins and all this shit. He's like, I can't watch Pikachu be hurt anymore. Like, this whole fucking rigmarole. So got 12 million views. Like,
Wow.
yeah. So he's really good at what he does, although he'll never admit it. Kyle's the most humble person I know. But anyway, so I was actually filming. I hired Kyle to do a sketch film shoot for a friend of mine. We're actually doing a commercial for her because she's my friend Jen. She's a pure romance consultant, so she sells sex toys and like lubricants. So I thought, why not make a commercial for her, but also something funny because that's our shtick. So I thought, so I had it like a eHarmony kind of ad, where everyone's like those white backgrounds with a
Yeah.
couch and everyone's just like sitting there telling their story. So I got Jen to walk out and be like, hi, I'm Jen. I sell all these products, but they're really great. Don't take my word for it. Check out these testimonials. And then you just see 4 characters, cycles through 4 characters who I got 4 actors to play 4 ridiculous characters. One was Natasha Richards, who was in Gremlins. She plays this married woman who's like this first time user of partner strap-on dildo set or whatever the hell. She's this sophisticated professional going like, do I have to say like details like
I love like a almost behind the scenes kind of bit. I love those. I love that shit.
You hear the interview off stage, like, just tell us about your experience, and she's just like,
Like, I was
James,
dissatisfied.
it worked. Oh my God.
Those are great.
So on this project, Kyle afterwards approached me and he's like, hey, this contest is due in 2 weeks. I need help. Do you think you'd be willing to come on board? And so I ended up producing pretty much the whole thing. Like, well,
Wow.
I left Kyle to do all the work that he could do that I couldn't, like, because he's a great graphic effects artist. He was using motion capture, so he even got me to like put helmets on and gears and do gizmo movements and gremlin movements. So I was doing all the movements for every gremlin and the sound as well. So make sure you listen to the sounds.
Yeah.
So while he was doing that, I was hiring actors, I was booking venues, I was getting wardrobe and props and blah 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 blah. And Robert Peng lent his house for the house.
I saw that. I saw that. Was he there? Was he there while you were filming?
Yeah, he was. He was.
Did you have to duct tape his mouth to keep him from?
Actually,
he's so loud.
The joke was that, I mean, at first he was being really nice. He was helping us, like, you know, position the stuff, furniture out of the way and da da da. And I'm like, you don't have to, like, don't worry, we'll leave everything cleaner than when we found it. But then as soon as we started filming, you know, he went up to his room and then he just stayed there like the whole time. And I'm like, what's he doing?
That's a dangerous question to ask. I mean, it is Robert Peng.
Why is everything sticky?
This right now is 99% of why I'm enjoying doing these. Oh shit, that's amazing. Oh,
Lysol wipes needs to fucking sponsor that guy.
Oh, big time. Yeah. And black lights as well, maybe.
Oh, I don't want to know. It was probably like, he probably left that place looking like fucking Dalmatians.
It's a little bit like a Jackson Pollock glowing in the dark. Yeah, my wife's going to complain about this episode. It's like, I can't believe you're talking. It's just disgusting. Why are you doing that? That's just nasty.
It's Peng's fault.
Oh.
But yeah, it was a good shoot. He finished it. What's funny is that couple days before the deadline, I was asked by another actor friend, like, hey, I'm doing Pulp Fiction. Can you jump on as Mia Wallace? And I was like, sure. And he's like, do you have film lights? And I'm like, you have a crew, right? Like, holy shit. Like, I'm not doing this. Like 2 days. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, he had actually for being so seemingly disorganized, he had his shit together. He had all these friends in really good places. He had a guy owning the St. James Well Pub in Newport Village in Port Moody. So we're using that space to film. He knew this actor that I've never met before, but apparently is high up there. His nickname is Sleepy. Because his eyes, he just has sleepy eyes. And I'm like,
you just kind of like dozy all the time. Like,
and I'm like, you like that nickname? All right. But anyways, this guy worked with Seth Rogen like a bunch of times. He's like he's up there in the.
It's probably Seth Rogen's fault. His nickname is Sleepy. I don't know.
Probably why it's stuck. Exactly. But super talented. Oh my God, they're all of them. And we had James. James was working the camera. He brought a red cam with him, so it was
those
like
are not
all
cheap.
Yeah, and the fake prop guns that you saw the picture of, like, just wicked stuff. And I was like, wow, for a 4-person crew, like, this is pretty good. Like,
That's pretty good.
So
that's
cool.
It
was fun. The Fast and Furious 2 weeks.
You're so busy. It's crazy.
That was a little bit of a shock. I mean, December was like just me like surviving pretty much. I think I just like was reading books and like I trained clients on Zoom every Saturday. So apart from that, it was just sort of existing and coasting. I've since actually for a while I was going to a bar that my friend is a bar manager at, Rob, and he he was describing this bar in Coquitlam. He's like, this is a dive bar. Everyone who comes here is a regular. It's like Cheers, but like awful. And I thought like, well, I'm kind of doing like writing work and it's not really inspiring to be at my house anymore. So I just took it all, I wrapped it all up and I brought it over there, and it was like, it was exactly as you described. Suddenly I'm talking with this guy who's just like telling me his whole life story, and I'm just sitting at the bar drinking tea because I'm trying to stay off liquor, like looking like a weirdo. But
you should have had like a recorder going. It's like, oh, this is a good story.
I really should have. Like the people there are just fucking wild.
What's it called? What's the bar called?
Charlie Hamilton's Pub.
Interesting. So it's a nice sounding name for a pub.
It's really cute. It's actually really cute, and they do like very well. Like are usually, I mean, they're busy as busy as can get anyway. But yeah, like you said, everybody knows each other, and it's just, and nobody seems to understand COVID there. They just come right up to me like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Wow."
Like, hey, buddy, back off.
Yeah, like I'm not really concerned, but whoa, this is not even like pre-COVID nice.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing, eh? Like when you say, oh, it's a dive bar, everyone here is regulars. It's like, yeah, okay, so you're like the feature entertainment almost to them, because you're something new that walked in the door, and they're like, oh, what's this? And they come, you know what I mean? And they have no boundaries with each other, I'm sure.
No,
so
wandering around. I was kind of hoping I'd be like that angry writer at the bar regular, you know what I mean? Like I was hoping that I could establish myself. Just start crumpling paper. Fuck.
That's tough to do if you're not drinking, though.
Yeah, true. You know me.
Sitting at the bar, not drinking, but writing furiously. It's like, oh.
Well, I mean, I'm a pretty angry person, so I'm sure I can do it.
that's been my other abiding notion from you, is that, oh, she's just so angry. Just look at her constantly.
Okay, I know I put out, like, I'm usually very bubbly, it's true, but on my own, I have a lot. I think if I wasn't such an avid fitness person, I'd probably be a lot angrier. But because I work it out that way. But for some reason, it's never usually, I mean, it can be because of people, but I'm never angry at people. It's more so directed. Like technology fucking makes me from 0 to 90 in 5 seconds. Unbelievable. Like I will start yelling expletives that aren't even created yet. And I'm pretty sure I got that from my dad.
No, I hear you. I find it interesting because you hang out a little bit with your comedians and whatever at shows and things. So you never really get a chance to just like sit down and actually talk. Like last week when I did this with Jay, I found out so many things about him that I had no clue, and I was like, wow, dude, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the hang is fun, but it's still somewhat impersonal. Because it's the location that you're in as well, because there's other people around. People usually they have their mind on their set, or even if they had their set already done, and then they're just sitting there and watching and whatever. And then if they hang out afterwards, you're still in a situation.
Right.
But it's always interesting to see. Like I would be moderately terrified to look inside Robert Pang's mind, because I don't know. I have no idea, right? But he might be perfectly calm and relaxed and normal. Not from the podcasts that I've heard him on just yet, but you know what I mean? Like you never know. Yeah. So it's but yeah, I mean, appearances are always kind of a little bit I don't even know what I'm trying to say anymore. There you go. That's how articulate I am, Nina.
We do tend to put on faces. I totally get that. Yeah. And it's interesting. Robert Pang's actually a really interesting one, because he's so bombastic and loud and angry on stage, but you meet him one-on-one and he's just the most calm, polite, almost demure person. Yeah. And same thing with his podcast. It was kind of funny when he invited me over to do the podcast, he's like, hey, like greeting me, like, did you want anything to drink? Da, da, da. And yeah, I'm like, sure, no, what? And so we're just like sitting down, he's settling, and as soon as he turns that fucking thing on, okay, where is it? It's like,
Yeah,
whoa.
it's hilarious. He's got like a switch. He's just, I guess he just changes, eh? Like,
I thought it was all that like, virgin angst just fucking just comes.
yeah, yeah. It's all very, yeah, it's very fucking weird.
Yeah, but
'Cause-
bubbly, I mean, I am a bubbly person, particularly if, I mean, in a public setting too, it brings it out of me. But when one-on-one, usually when I'm around people I'm comfortable with, I find that I'm not like womp sad, but I'm definitely way more calmer, way more I'd say like a little, even a little angsty.
mm,
Because I usually feel like that's a side of me that people don't necessarily like as much. So I only really tend to show it on intimate levels. So
mm,
I mean that's probably a sign of the times though, because I feel like there's so much pressure uh on all of us really to be this like happy-go-lucky thing. And I get it, like people only want to work with happier people, but I think that was another reason why in December I wanted to be so vocal about like, hey, like this is not all the time. I actually handle this and this, and we should normalize that. Like this is the spectrum of the human condition. It's not just we have this all these emotions, and interestingly we categorize them as negative and positive,
mm-hmm.
which kind of tends to ostracize feeling that way. So not only do we feel shitty, we feel ashamed about being shitty. So it's like this
Mm-hmm.
double shit sandwich, which is just like unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like anger is anger, and if we can feel it without being judged, it tends to go away just as fast as it came.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I
but it
find that's the judgment thing. That's the, like, there's a lot of people posting, making all these little posts to normalize this, normalize that, normalize. It's like, if we just don't judge immediately, that's a good start. How about that?
totally
Right. And then if you're concerned about something, if someone's feeling, or if you're worried, then have an interaction, a conversation. And I find that people don't want to have interactions and conversations anymore. They just want to post something on Instagram or Facebook. You know
yeah,
what I
that's a
mean?
good point.
They just kind of,
That's
well, here's the meme that sums me up at the moment. And it's like, well,
mm.
but that's not necessarily, because a lot of times people will post things that are real clever, but it doesn't actually, they didn't understand what it was that they were posting. Like, I've seen few things, like my daughter posts things sometimes on Instagram, and I'm like, oh,
Tell me more. What, like what?
do you understand what it is you're posting there? I don't really know. Like, sometimes she gets swept up because she's in university, right? So
Right.
it's like sometimes she gets swept along with like Black Lives Matter or
Of
whatever, but
course.
she'll post something that's, I'm looking at him going, okay, I agree on the base level, but this specific thing is kind of a little, I'm not sure if you've actually looked into it, honey, and I'll try and talk to her about it, but it's like, you can't at this time. Like, she's smack dab in the middle of that point of life where she is having to learn everything for herself. Like, I can't
Right.
tell her anything. If she
Right.
asks me for advice, then I can give her some kind of advice, but I can't say to her, listen, you got to do this or whatever, because she
Right.
just won't hear it, because she's I'm an adult now, and she's on that, you know what I mean? That's that weird,
Yeah.
it's literally starts sometime around 13, like 12 or 13,
Interesting.
and then ends, I'm hoping it'll end sometime around 20. If she's anything like, well, no, I can't compare her to her sister, so
Don't ever compare her to her sister.
oh no, well, they compare themselves far too often, so it's because they had different lives, completely different lives.
Oh, Morgan and I did that all the time growing up for sure.
Yeah, older or
Jealous of each other
younger?
for different. Morgan's my older sister.
How many years
Yes.
between you?
2.5. So it was actually, I
Okay.
mean, it was good. We were I think the only years we didn't get along was when it was like it became significant, like she was in high school and I was still in middle school or whatever those
Yeah, those are.
differences were. But otherwise we got along great. I was always jealous of her because she's still this type. She eats like a Toblerone and a martini for breakfast, and she has a six pack. Like, go fuck yourself.
Oh, big time. It's like, hey, I'm sorry, we came from the same humans, didn't we? Didn't we come from the same humans? How did you win that fucking lottery in the genetics, you fuck? I have the same thing with my brother and my sister too. They're both
God
physical
damn it.
specimens.
Yeah, and then she was also she won top female everything in her university. Like I was like, So not only is she like super thin, super fit, super beautiful, she's like super smart. And I'm just like, well, what do you have, Nina? It's like, well, you're good at theater. And I'm like, I'm the dumb theater kid. Okay.
Is she like is she like super nice and super humble and super wonderful and
Of
everything
course.
else? Oh
Classic.
God, I hate those people.
She's not even full of herself. She's just super smart. I think
That's
unfortunately though, it didn't win her any friends that she was super smart, because she was like, she's been an old soul all her life. Like I remember we were packing up moving, and we found one of her old journals when she kept when she was like seven. Okay, so this is in the childhood print. She writes, um whatever I believe will come true, because like that's the power of your mind. Like that's like the shit that she wrote at 7. Like she studied quantum physics for fun at age 15. I was
so
like,
okay.
so
Sorry.
fucking like what?
She was writing inspirational memes at 7, is basically what you're saying.
And I was playing Diablo, drinking iced tea like it was a fucking drug.
Much more reasonable, if you ask me. That's much more reasonable.
And Neopets. A whole bunch of years was wasted on Neopets.
It's so funny. It's so funny. Like, well, I mean, but you guys had an okay relationship. You had a pretty good relationship, yeah.
Yeah, I would actually, I mean, to be really honest, because that's who I am. This year's been rough, actually. This year is probably the first time it's been rough. Because she's living on she met Josh, her now husband, and they moved to Ucluelet, and then they sold their house and moved and bought a boat and decided to sail down to Mexico. And Morgan has since Josh is a very adventurous spirit, and Morgan is such a generous person that whoever she decides to love, like her family, she will go to the ends of the earth for.
Right.
And it's totally her choice, and I respect her choice. But she gives up a lot for that. Like she left a job at Metro Parks. She they moved to the Ucluelet because he wanted to go there. She found a job. She was hired as the financial manager for the city in Ucluelet
Hewlett.
because she's just
Wow.
that good. You know what I mean? Like, and she was being primed to be this higher up position, but then they decided, she says it's her decision, sell the house, buy a boat, and now they're in Mexico, and she's trying to make stuff work there. But right now they have no status, they have no health, they have no, because they have to come back to Canada to get their visa. And
Yeah.
guess what, there's no flights now, and they didn't want to come back during the time that Trudeau was trying to get everyone back. So now they're in this huge predicament, and it's frustrating because I can see how angry they both are because of these situations. But it's like, well, you had options. And I feel
Yeah.
like it's not my place to say, because I don't want to like come down on it, but it's I think we've hit a point where it's like the distance for the last couple of years, plus now this whole what they're going through versus what I had a lot of success out of COVID because of just the way things worked out, and they've just had a lot of like,
Yeah.
and so it's just put us in very weird, I feel like it's put us in very weird positions. So
Well, that's
I'm
the thing.
doing, yeah.
That's the thing with being free spirited to a point, right? You can do things and take risks, and you can, oh, it's what an interesting life, and it's so wonderful. But then when things
But
do
then
go
it's a risk.
wrong, you've got, that your trials and tribulations are going to be a little bit more than what they would be for the quote
Yeah.
unquote average person. But I mean, at the same, it's a funny, it's that teeter totter thing, right? It's like, do you buy the
Yeah.
Harley Davidson or do you put a new roof on your house?
Well, yeah, and I get, like, I get that the idea that they want to live their life before they're retired, like they don't want to wait till they're retired to do something great. But it's like there's a reason why people wait till they're retired. Like it's funny, they make fun of boomers
Yeah.
for working jobs to earn finally their vacation. But I'm like, but also you need to think about, you need to make plans. Like you're always worried about finances. Like I personally would not want to live like that. Like,
Yeah.
so it's a balance, right? Like I want to spend and have fun, but I also I don't want to worry about where I'm going to live.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
you know?
Well, like, cause we're, in a weird, it's not the same because we're older.
What's that like?
You know what? It
It
sucks.
seems hard.
It would be fine. It would be fine if I could just, like, my mom has a great saying. She's like, I don't mind getting older. I just don't like the side effects.
That's great.
which is that's perfect. Like it's perfectly apt. Like if I could take a pill and rewind this body about 20 years, that would be the perfect version of me.
Amazon testosterone.
I might need to get your buddy to send me a link because I don't know if I could find that.
We'll chloroform you and stab you while you're out.
I have actually been thinking about that. I'm like,
There you go.
I can't seem to. Oh, I just don't. Oh, my shoulder and my everything. It's just does nothing healing the same way anymore. I think I need some stem cells and testosterone.
It's not going to fix your hair though, Walter.
You know what? I've been bald since I was 22. So
really?
Yeah, dude. You know what's funny? In senior year of high school, for whatever reason, I don't know why, probably out of my mind, and I let my hair grow out, and it grew down to shoulder length. So I had like a fucking, and it was like this. It was like a mane, like, and I have like no pictures at all because that was back when you still had to use film, and people didn't want to take pictures of me because I don't want to have to waste the money to get it developed.
Oh my God, really?
Anyway, no. Apparently, supposedly, my mother has some pictures of me from back then, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to look at them. But I had it grew down to my shoulders and then stopped. It would not grow any longer. Like it was at shoulder length for probably a good 6 months and would not grow. Like I could just barely pull all of it into a little ponytail.
Yeah.
And that's it. It stopped there and it wouldn't grow. And then after that, I got a haircut. And then after that, I went to university for about 8 seconds, just long enough to join the rugby team and have my head shaved for the first time ever. And then it never grew back properly again. And then when I was about 21, 22, I was kind of looking in the mirror going, well, this is bullshit. And I just to hell with it. And I shaved it off. And then there's less and less to shave off every year now. So, I mean, that's fine.
I mean, you're fortunate enough that it looks good on you.
I find it's always interesting to me when people say that because 99.9% of the people who say that are people that had met me while I was bald. So it's like you don't know any different. So
that's true.
It's like when you watch.
I'm trying to picture you with this like Ronald McDonald shoulder length though, and it's not really doing anything for me.
Oh shit, Ronald McDonald. Oh, that's amazing. I could never fit his shoes.
I mean, I would be disturbed if you would.
That's the other thing, I have really small feet. For a man, everyone else I know that's like my height, they're all like size 10 or above. Yeah. I can fit into some size 8s from time to time, depending on the make of the shoe. It's
8 men's.
Well, yes. Imagine if it was 8 women's.
I'm like, wow, Walter's a geisha.
My parents tied up my feet when I was a baby.
I was wondering why you walk so gracefully.
Have you ever seen those feet? Have you ever actually seen those feet? Like
I've seen pictures because I studied it for university. It's brutal.
Oh, that's rough, man. It's just like a little hoof. It's so weird because the toes are curled under, right?
Yeah, they slowly break the foot under and they just fold it and bind it. Oh man, that's gotta fucking hurt.
From a young age too.
That's like the history of women though, right? Like we did you know, do you remember the show Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
Yes, I love that show.
I love it too. So the actress who plays Maisel, she was they had her wearing like authentic wardrobes. So she was actually wearing certain corsets and body stuff for the show. Ended up doing something to her ribs. I can't remember the exact nature of the injury, but she actually got a whole bunch of stuff going on with her because of it. And I'm like, because this shit's fucking brutal.
It's the compression thing. It's that's just awful for you. But there's still people today who have like corset fetishes and stuff, and they're like their waist is literally like that big.
Yeah.
It's like that's just big enough to get your spine through. Like, how are you? Do you poop? Like,
oh yeah, no kidding, right? And your ribs must be like essentially broken. Actually, that was another thing too. One woman actually wanted to be like, she got lambasted for it, but she wanted to be a authentic Barbie doll, some Russian woman. So she got her lips pumped up and all this augmentation. She literally, the final straw was when she had her 7th ribs removed
Oh my
so she could
gosh.
have that. And I'm like, dude, your ribs protect your organs. Like, you can, somebody's now gonna brush beside you and like your liver is just gonna explode.
Well, that woman clearly hadn't watched the episode of QI where they went over how Barbie could not exist as a real human, wouldn't be able to stand up, wouldn't have enough room inside her body to actually have enough of a digestive tract, so she would die. Malnutrition, malnutrition and malabsorption, she would die. Her head was too big, her neck was too long. Like, she, as physically, she wouldn't even be able to stand up straight ever. Like, it's hilarious. People are just nuts. Like, and then you have the doctors who are like, oh yeah, I can do that. Yeah, sure. Not. Oh, you got money? Okay, yeah. And they're still considered doctors. Like, that I don't get. I don't
Oh
understand
my
that.
God.
There was a man in Thailand started turning
Always
himself
Thailand. Of course, Thailand. Go ahead.
started turning himself into a dragon.
What?
Okay. Whole body
Really?
tattooed in scales, had implants in his forehead
For horns?
for horns. Yeah, had his tongue bifurcated, so it's like
Oh, I
split.
hate that.
I know, that's creepy, right? And it would
Oh
move.
God.
He would be able to
Oh,
cross over
oh,
and stuff.
oh, oh.
Big long claws and implants and all kinds of weird shit. Okay. Then decides that he's actually a female dragon, so goes through a sex change operation and becomes a woman, right? And I can't remember how many years after that, but he killed him, or she killed herself. So it's like, I look at people who do like dramatic body modifications, and I just think to myself, I don't think you're finding the source of your problem right off the bat. That's my first thought
Yeah,
always, right? Like, I
yeah,
see people do small things, like they get their teeth fixed, they get their nose
sure.
fixed, they get whatever fixed, right? Little
Yeah,
things. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay, I understand that, right? Like, I
yeah.
have one
Cleft lip
ear.
sucks. Got it.
Yeah. Oh, Joaquin Phoenix didn't give a shit. He's got that,
That's right.
right? And
Yeah.
he's done pretty well. But I mean,
No,
like,
he's
I
good.
have one ear that sticks out a little farther than the other, and I'm sure no
Do
one
you
else
really?
no
Why
one
haven't you
else
ever
sees it,
talked about
but
that?
I see it every time I look in the mirror. I look like I've got no ear on this side, and this one's like sticking out a bit. And it's like, okay, and maybe I'm just coming from a place of not being able to understand why, this, that, or the other about your physical appearance would be so important that you would go under the knife
Yeah.
for it. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, you got a
Maybe as a
point.
child, I was never told that what I wanted was okay. I don't know. But no, I'm just saying, honestly, as I get older, I'm getting more and more to the point where it's like, before you do something dramatic, maybe make sure that's your actual problem. Because it's a lot of money. And then if you do the thing and get like a
It's
dramatic
really hard
change,
to,
and then
yeah.
you don't feel better, how much worse, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Oh, totally. Then it just becomes a scar reminder of your damage. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, even
yeah,
on a smaller scale, I think of that way with tattoos. Like, I like the idea of having artwork, like I have like, a couple ear piercings, but whatever. But the idea of a tattoo really, there's no way I could probably get one because there's just nothing permanent I'd
that you would
want on
want.
my body. You know what I
Right.
mean? I think there's a sense of like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like I'm not going to speak for everyone, but sometimes I get the sense that everyone wants to be so individual and stand out in some way and express themselves in some way that they want this artwork on their body. And it's like, yeah, but is artwork going to do that, or are you going to do that? Because there's nothing that can really, you're right, like there's nothing that really solve your psychological issue other than you changing your mindset. It's always here. It's never
Yeah.
this, like it's never your external world, the result. It's really what you think of yourself is the most important thing, and
Yeah.
how you interact with the people around you. And that's I'm sorry, but having a fucking like bat on your face I'm not gonna
I knew a dude. I knew a guy. I think he was actually also a tattoo artist. I didn't really know him. He was a friend of a friend, and
mm-hmm.
he had a like a black ink
No, really, like
face
Braveheart?
handprint. Well, no, like more
Or sorry,
like
like
Lord of the
Iroquois.
Rings. Yeah, like an Urukai.
Oh
It was like right over his face like this. And I was told specifically not to ask about it.
no.
I was like,
Oh God. It's like an
okay,
Austin Powers mole thing. It's just like
yeah. How do you not ask about the thing that's on the guy's face? Like,
it's a blood. Yeah, it's like
yeah,
right there. So what's with the
that would be
Mac?
someone's first thought, right? Like, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't.
you can't. I'm sorry. You cannot get a tattoo across your fucking face and then ask everyone to ignore it. Like that is bullshit. Okay.
What was that?
That's
Was
like
that was it Gucci Mane? He's got like a fucking like an ice cream cone on his cheek just below his eye. Like I see these rappers and things like, or even Tekashi 6ix9ine or whatever the hell his name is. All these goofy, like the things they put on their face. I'm going, sorry, how did you become famous? How? I don't understand. This doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know either.
It was
It's similar to
nuts.
me as somebody getting like their breast done like out to fucking here and being like, "You're not taking me seriously." It's like, wow.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny though with the boob thing? I have always hated fake boobs. I've even when I
Yeah,
back in when I was a teenager
you
and
don't like
full of
this?
testosterone, it was just like these big bowling ball things. It's like, why? Who
Ooh,
thinks that's good looking? Who? They're like so tight and stretched, and like because the skin is going really,
it
really.
looks.
You know what I
You can just
mean?
hear them.
Oh, you could see it's the strain of the thing. It's like I'm waiting for the thing to rip off because it's literally looks like a balloon. It's the surface
Yeah.
tension is that like it's like
Like, don't move. No
yeah,
toes moving.
like if you turn too fast, you just go
They jump, they just stay.
and then they float too, right? They'll float away. But I've never understood that, and I don't like. And it's been a lot of years actually. Like even when I was like a teenager, I don't like super made up chicks. Like all the makeup, like everything's perfect and everything. Like a
Oh,
quote unquote perfect, like a
yeah,
painting
yeah,
perfect,
yeah. I
right?
see what you're saying.
It's like, okay, if you can't like survive walking through a light sprinkling of rain without your face starting to melt off, I'm not interested.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I personally I can't do the lifestyle. I remember I was friends with this lovely Italian girl in high school, and she would just spend hours. Oh, she'd want to go out somewhere, and I was like, I was dreading it because she'd be in the bathroom for like 3 fucking hours, and I was like, I was ready in 5 minutes. Like, let's go. Like, how do you live your life? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then everything was like it was so high maintenance. Like you couldn't dance because then you were sweaty and you had to fix things, and you spent more time like fixing and adjusting. And then, like you said, like if it fucking rains outside the club, it's like freak out, like I'm like, how are you gonna live in the world? How are you gonna?
Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten very much down, especially now in my old age. I've gotten very much down to like if it's not something that helps you survive something, I'm not interested. Like I've basically gotten to that point. Or it
You're saying
has
I
to
should
be
get like
like
a
fun.
torch or like a wrench like attached.
Yeah. But it's like fashion, right? Like I've never been, I mean, clearly look at me, right?
You
I've got
clearly got
Darth Vader on a penny
Darth
farthing.
Vader.
Okay.
That's
Like
great.
that is the height of my and then I've got like my full supernatural wardrobe, you know, like jeans and plaid shirts and cowboy boots.
Classic.
Like I don't care. I don't
Me
care. Like
neither.
99% of fashion is completely unusable shit. Like and it's like I
You're gonna end
can't
up like
find a pair of pants that aren't slim anymore to buy. You know what I mean? It's like, sorry, hi. I didn't skip leg day for 70, the entirety of my life. When did they start letting, anorexic freaking, people design all the clothes? It's like I thought we were moving past that. I thought we had gotten to the point where it's like, oh, body acceptance, and like they go completely the opposite side, right? Like, well, this girl's 490 pounds and she's fabulous. She can't get out of bed. What do you mean she's fabulous? But then at the same time, you got fucking, you still got the supermodels that are like pipe cleaner thin. It's like Twiggy. It's like, is there a middle? Can
so
we,
backwards.
Nina, can we find a middle ground?
You were
Something. For anything.
Hey, I'm the one that I go into Forever 21 and I'm like ripping shit and pulling them up over my arms. I'm like, I guess I can't flex.
That used to be my criteria when I was more of a meathead than I am now, like in my early 20s, really early 20s. That was like a criteria of a like a button-up shirt. It's like I had to wear a shirt that was tight enough, that was
You could do
just
the
small
pop.
enough so that if I got angry, I could just go like this, and then and the back would split and the buttons would rip like the Incredible Hulk, because I grew up in the Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk generation. It's like just
Great.
tear it all off.
Well, I mean, for fashion anyway, my fashion is pretty much, I think I'm like the Steve Jobs. I'm gonna have 50 versions of the same thing. Like, and it's always just like basic colors, like black, gray
Oh yeah.
sweaters. That's really it. I'm Steve Jobs.
I'm all t-shirts all the time as much as possible.
Well, I think it's like a lot of, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I like the occasional dressing up, but I actually find it's too many brain cells. Like I spend so much time running Laugh Wild. I spend so much time like business planning or working something out or doing creative projects or producing. Like I don't really give a shit what's on my body. You know what I mean? Like clothes, done.
Yeah. Although I would say that every now and again I do take a look in the mirror and go, oh, wait a minute. You're wearing 3 different types of camouflage.
You
2
blend
things are going to
into
need
nothing.
to change. Yeah. It's like we're gonna need to adjust this slightly. Like,
so you're like jungle from the waist up, desert from the waist down.
You know what was really really horrible? We bought because of all these masks, right? You got to buy 1 million masks now, right? So we're at was it? Oh God, Navy, Old Navy.
Old Navy. Yeah.
I always say Army and Navy, but Army and Navy's dead now, right? So it's like
now.
just Old Navy now.
Yeah.
So it's all right. Let's go to Old Navy. So they had like 4 packs of masks, and I'm like, oh, cool. So I grab these and I buy the thing, and inside there's 2 that are camouflage. One that's gray camouflage and one that's green. And I didn't realize that I put the green one in my pocket, and then I was wearing my green camouflage little jacket that I have that's very snazzy. And I found in a thrift store in Brooklyn the last time that we were in New York, and I had black people on the streets saying, man, that's a great coat, man. I'm like, oh, why, thank you. I'm being... And then so I put this thing on and I walk into a store and I caught a glimpse of myself in like a shiny bit of like a display cabinet, and I'm going, oh shit.
Were you matching?
You know what? It was the perfect match.
Matchy.
That's fantastic. Just, oh my goodness. You have no idea.
Go with that.
What underwear? What are you talking about? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those people. No. I need all the help I can get. Just gotta make sure everything's a place for everything and everything in its place. That's how it works.
I swear to God, though, I'm not gonna be one of those people where I'm gonna start accessorizing with my mask.
Oh no. I just try and make sure I don't look like a complete freak. That's basically it. Like there's very little else I can do.
Although to be fair, I was chatting with Susan Thompson and she was nice enough to give me a little gift of a black mask, and I noticed that I also enjoy solid color masks over patterns. So I'm just like, clearly I have an aesthetic.
Yeah. Well, it's just simpler. I mean, there's enough things in life that are like overly complicated, right? It's like, let's just make something simple. But yeah.
That's great.
Okay. I'm trying to keep an eye on the time. Very quickly then. Can we talk for a second about Laugh Wild?
Absolutely.
When did you start? When did you start it, like proper?
Laugh Wild was born probably, I would say, September 2019. Maybe something around there, maybe even a bit sooner. So I had started producing shows by myself pretty soon after getting involved in the comedy industry, because I noticed there's just like everybody should notice, there's not many shows that happen. So, and I was working for Laugh Lines initially to kind of get myself kind of involved in the comedy community. So, doing it the Chris Rock way.
Yeah.
And I just, yeah, I thought like, okay, I'm taking Jan Bannister's class, and there's not enough shows to go around. So I produced one at Heritage Grill. I hired Brett Martin to headline, Quasey Thomas, Luke Wilde. And pretty soon after that, I just thought like, oh, you know what? Like I might as well just have a little production company. And I originally was going to go with Cassie Baradas, who was in the improv community, but that kind of fell away, and it just became a stand-up comedy show company. But then I obviously, with COVID and just with my different interests, it became so many things. It became like a means to produce short films and sketch. I was talking to Sam Tonning about, we were piloting some comedy classes, so that might come back when things open up. And I got some plans to do a bit of a Saturday Night Live kind of show. So I did a bunch of different things. I did like a comedy variety show before things closed down at the Culture Theatre, Fox Cabaret with co-production with Jan Bannister doing Comedy Feud. So yeah, it just became this sort of all things comedy stuff. Like, so I'm not really married to one thing. Obviously stand-up is like it's staple, but that's kind of its history and trajectory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was really cool because it's like you did Jan's class, you said.
I did, yeah.
What year did you do that? Like the
Fuck, I think I finished January. I say that like it was 20 years ago, but it wasn't. It just feels like it's been 20 years
It
ago.
feels that way. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think I finished around January, February 2019.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did her
Yeah.
class when I was 40. So what's that, 4 years ago? So 2017. And I still, when I see that video on YouTube, I cringe. It's so
Right?
bad.
I think it's a good sign though, right? Because it shows how much you've
I
gone
suppose, yeah, well, at least I'm not standing there with a fucking cue card in my damn mic hand covering up half my face. A cue card that I never referred to once, not even once. Why did I have it in my hand? Like, I look at that and I just want to go back in time and smack the shit out of myself.
But I know the feeling.
But
I performed at Yuck Yucks, one of my first sets, and I was so nervous, I forgot everything. I just stood there like blanking out. So I was like grabbing through this, was looking at I'm like, these aren't breasts, they're just notes.
Everyone in the audience is looking at you going, did she get her boobs done in Minecraft? She got her boobs done in Minecraft. All geometric and square and blocky. You got a whole thing in there.
Yeah.
No, but as it pertains to Laugh Wild, last year, I think I have a lot to be appreciative to you guys, because I think I did more sets, and a big part of it is because of you guys, because of the different shows that you're running, and just me getting out there more. I did more sets last year than I did in the previous 3. Like,
yeah, good.
I'm really super appreciative, and I told Jay this too, and he's kind of like, oh, yeah. It's really difficult to not be in the same room, because it's like, I just want to hug. I'm just such a huggery type person, but yeah, I mean, you guys, the consistent quality of the shows has been really, really good. I mean, the locations are good too. You guys tend to find these really nice, like King's Head and Heritage and I forgot the name of the Chinese restaurant. What's the
Neptune's?
Neptune's. How could I forget that? Comedy on Neptune. This is the old person coming through. My brain's got holes in it because the worms are already eating it. But yeah, no, it's been amazing, and I just wanted to say that. And thank you.
Oh, well, I'm glad you think so. It's good feedback. I've got a lot of I think I can't remember where I met Jay to ask him to join up, but my biggest thing for having people on board with Laugh Wild, because my dream for Laugh Wild is to create essentially a circuit of shows where every show can leverage to the next one because everyone recognizes the name brand. So similar, like we know with Starbucks. So everyone
Right.
who knows a Starbucks will go in because they know Starbucks. But what I didn't want was I didn't want there to just be one booker. And I wanted people in the industry that were able to be objective, be compassionate, because obviously it's an industry riddled with fucking mental health issues. And I think right, like it is. And it's like, and then the sooner we understand more about how to deal with that appropriately, rather than just sort of like, because I've had so much feedback, like there's been a lot of like excommunication and judgments and hurt feelings and that. And I think we need to have a separation of personal and professional.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to create rooms where it was okay to be you. As long as you're professional and you're respectful and you're funny, you're going up on stage, was the motto that I wanted everyone to operate by. And what's great about Laugh Wild is that you've got Jessica booking, you've got Jay booking, Susan Thompson might jump on board. I actually will be posting in the next couple of days. I have another hiree coming on board. And the idea is that we have a community of people that share the same values, that like they can leave their personal you can not get along with them, but you're still going up and it's a safe space to be in. You know what I mean? You don't need to play political
Yeah.
games to just get up on stage. It's a huge community. And what's beautiful was that I started noticing at Neptune's, like people were just kind of coming to Neptune's comics of all calibers just to hang out. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's what I wanted. Like
Yeah.
it's just, you can chill with your colleagues, you can shoot the shit, you can learn from each other, support. Like that's what comedy should be about. Comedy is hard enough without extra stuff,
Drama.
and the more shows that we have, the more times you get to go up and do your thing, and that's what's going to make us better.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm trying to create a little mini New York scene, where you just pop from one venue to another. And Laugh Wild, the brand I'm trying to push up. Meanwhile, I'm trying to decentralize the powers that be. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that
So
totally makes
that's my
sense.
dream.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because especially right now. I mean, Yuck Yucks is toast for the
It
moment,
is, I think, yeah,
right?
it is
And
toast. I've heard rumors that he might open a separate independent club, but I have no idea if that's going to happen.
yeah, and then also we lost the comedy mix a while back. I mean, Vancouver really
Yeah.
has, outside of House of Comedy, which isn't even in Vancouver. There's
Mm-hmm.
no, they're really cementing this no fun Vancouver thing
I know.
you know what I mean? Like, you remember when we used to have the Indy 500 every year? Like they, from that point, they just like, let's take away all the things that are cool and fun and interesting and just leave. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
Yeah,
And then now, with all the
it
bloody
is. And they're
COVID
actually
stuff.
they're I know. And they're rezoning where Little Mountain Gallery is. So I don't know what's going to happen with that or what the future of that is. Or
Apartment
Kino.
buildings.
Kino might, right? It's,
And it's, you know what? It
but
would be fine in my
yeah,
head, like on a broad scale. I'm fine if you get, you want to
mm,
do developments, fine. But can you put back
sure.
things like you can build a big building? Like New
Yeah.
York, New York has got a shit ton of really big buildings, and then they got a load of little clubs that are underneath the fucking building that are really cool and
Wouldn't that be
funky.
cool
And
though?
why can't we, like,
Mhm.
why but these developers don't think that way, and the city politicians don't think that way, and they think
Yeah,
that culture is something that you import or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's, you got to have infrastructure in place and zoning to let things happen. Like, there's so many cool little clubs. I can't remember the name of the club that we went to in Seattle, but it was like, you go in, there's like a bar up top, and then you go
Mhm.
downstairs into the basement, and the basement's basically like a little shithole, concrete. You know what I mean? But they've got a stage and they've got lights, and the show was fun, and it was great. It seated enough people. I don't know why we can't have that in Vancouver. It's just a little bit odd.
I hope so, because I mean, I like yourself. I have no problem with like influx of people. Like it's becoming a city. We're becoming an urban center. Like I'm. That's the way things are going to go, and that's the way things are going to go. That's fine. But yeah, like you said, it's like we can't, especially with like all the different cultures that are here living in the city. Like we need these things to like
Yeah.
integrate, to get along, to relate to each other. And that was another reason why I wanted to build a little bit of a school, just because I wanted to build a wider net of like different people from different kinds of walks of life and different backgrounds, just to in comedy and in performance, because like that's how we tend to mesh. That's how, and to have entertainment that relates to you is to show everything on stage, like represent the city that you're in, kind of thing. So yeah, you're totally right. I hope that, well, I mean, if it's not provided, we'll just have to get very innovative.
Yeah, exactly. We just have to let you take over as many smaller venues as possible, and then just rock and roll it. You can be the Canadian Mitzi Shore.
Yeah. And now I'm just picturing like taking over like weird spaces, like where the parking garages that aren't used anymore. Like, okay, guys, pop out.
That would probably be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. Ooh, how grungy can it get? Maybe I'll just go underground, like an old abandoned subway.
Well, Chappelle used to just rock up with a battery powered microphone and speaker.
My amp. Oh my God.
In the middle of a park, and he just started doing stand up. And there wasn't a set time or anything. There wasn't an audience. He just started doing stand up, and people would be walking by going, "What the fuck?" And then he would build a crowd, and he'd stand there for like hours. Even
that's amazing.
As far as I understand it, as recently as a couple of years ago, he would just do that whenever he kind of the mood hit him.
Wow, he is a true comedian.
That's
a true
dedication to the craft right there.
No kidding. Oof.
Yeah.
I would love to have that kind of spine.
Well, hey man, keep going the way you're going. I think you'll probably build it. Anyway, if you build it, they will come. Okay, well, I have had you here for almost an hour and a half. So
it's been such a joy. I didn't even
You're so silly.
We didn't even have any questions. We just kind of went off.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing.
That's fair. No, it was actually it felt very, I mean, you had one question. So what's left? Well,
I wanted, and that was a selfish question because I wanted to, be able to say thank you.
Ah.
So
you're welcome.
Next time you need somebody for a joke, for like doing voices and whatnot, just give me a shout out. I can do it. It's all right.
Bloody well, keep coming. I think you're bloody funny and all that.
You know what? I try. I want to be funny. I want to be funny. Not just funny looking and funny smelling, but I want to be properly funny.
You had a great set. I think what was it? Comedy. I think it was Comedy Snacks at Havana. You came out it was great because everyone obviously had a lot of like COVID jokes, and it's like so easy to go into like the same fucking stuff because we're all going through it and it's just becoming hack like within a week. But like you had this great thing where you're talking about it's the same, you and your wife, you're just seeing each other over and over again. It just felt so natural, like the way you just went into your own shit. Like, so it's like, it's really genuine. And I really love, I've enjoyed your stuff ever since I watched you.
It was that show was interesting and fun. I'm trying to remember which one, because I did it twice, right?
Yeah.
I did the first one I did, you weren't there. And then the second one.
I think it was the second one. You started out with saying like, "Oh, I'm out of my house," so that sounds like I'm an old person.
Yeah. It's just nice to be out.
Yeah, that's the one. That's so great.
I love that. I like that. I keep trying to bring that. I love doing that stupid voice just because it makes me feel. And then I do the well, now I think I did it at the Heritage that one night. It's just like I just started walking away like I've got a walker. Like, where are you going? Bathroom. Like, oh, you got to pee? Not yet, but maybe. I'm looking forward to those days. It's going to be fantastic. But the first time, I'm glad that you liked the second that when you were there, Havana, because the first time that I did it, I thought I had fun, but the second I was done, friggin' oh damn it, my brain. Who runs the tech? Tanner, yes. I'm sorry, Tanner. My brain is useless. I can't remember things anymore.
It's a hard name. Tanner is 2 syllables. Fuck.
The second I was done and I go to sit down in between comedians, he comes on the microphone and he's like, we have a YouTube comment. It was my kid. My kid commented,
No, really?
complaining because I had like a joke about her sitting in the toilet.
Oh
She's like, that
no.
was me that sat in the toilet. Put the seat down. I'm like, okay, idiot. And then I sat down and I'm like laughing about that. And my phone goes buzz buzz. And I look at it. It's my son-in-law, because my daughter and my son-in-law and their kids were staying here at the time,
Yeah, yeah.
in this room actually. And they're
Oh.
like, all he's texted was, 4 of the 6 people live streaming are in this room. So it was my wife, my 2 kids, and my son-in-law. We're 4 of the 6. And I was like, okay, that's pretty funny. That's pretty fucking funny.
So funny. What a weird show. Yeah, I'm happy to see the comedy community going online and stuff. It seems to have some success. Like they sold out that Kino fundraiser show, but I maybe I have to just see it a couple more times or do it a couple more times, but it just doesn't feel,
It's not
I
the
don't
same.
know. It's not the same. And
It's not the same.
I'm happy to embrace that. Like I think there's ways to like still play and stand up when things open up or whatever. But I think for now it's like it's okay to not do that. And there's other things we can do in the meantime. But yeah, that's a tough one. I'm still, although I mean there's some shows where you can actually get the real-time laughter, but the bandwidth you need is probably fucking
It's
atrocious.
huge.
Like
Yeah. Have you seen Andrew Schultz Saves America?
No,
It's on Netflix. Do you know who Andrew Schultz is? Comedian.
I think so.
He's a New York guy. He was doing these things on Instagram. So he'd be like doing like monologues. He'd be like, oh, Donald Trump. And they did, like the camera would shift. He'd turn towards it. And he's like, turn your phone. I gotta talk to you for a second. So you turn your phone, then it would go widescreen. And then he'd do like a 2 or 3 minute rant. And Netflix saw these, and they're amazing. Like, cause he spends a long time writing them, and he's got a couple of guys that help him. Fucking amazing. And then so he basically put out a special during COVID, recorded it and put it out for Netflix. And it's essentially a 4-part special, but in that format. So there's nobody in the room. He's just doing, and so he's got little things popping up in the corner. So like, not that, like he'll turn and react to something that isn't there yet. Like it's amazing. If you can't sleep one of these nights,
I will definitely make use of this.
Hop on Netflix and watch that. It's absolutely riveting.
That's perfect. Like, see, embrace the shit that we're going through. And I think you find some creative, cool stuff. Like, I mean, I had so much fun doing Meltdown because of this like cool little idea of a screen. So I just did a cooking show. Like because you get to see like all these up close and personal expressions. So like even Robert did a puppet show at one point. It's just like, yeah, get fucking weird.
That's amazing. A puppet show. That's tremendous. Man. Yeah, no, it's all good. Pressure makes diamonds, right? So, you know.
Although one headliner I saw from a Zoom show, he was from the States and he was performing for this big paid show, and he used one of those like those backgrounds those fancy backgrounds that just kind of like fill in around you. Yeah. But like his head kept fucking disappearing.
Yeah.
I was like, this is.
I love it too when people don't understand that certain colors, if you're wearing a shirt of certain colors, it makes your shirt disappear for certain things, right? So you're just like a floating head.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Like I got this stupid sheet behind me just because my walls, I haven't painted in here yet. I got to tear up the rest of this and then I got to paint it. But
put it on the Insta.
When it's done, this wall's gonna be like a fake wooden wall, like not a log cabin, but like boards.
Okay.
Probably gonna be like a nice teak or brown or something. I don't know.
That's nice.
Something that works well with my natural, whatever the fuck you call this.
That's the way to do it. Well, I don't know if taking a little tour. So during the shutdown, actors had to do self-tapes. Oh, yeah. So I actually disassembled my bed and moved it into the living room. Hey. And then I just changed my bedroom into a little self-tape department.
Oh, that's clever.
So I'll be painting this wall blue and whatnot. So I changed my one bedroom into a studio apartment.
Okay. Very, very quickly before I let you go.
All right.
I will take you for a very quick tour of the craziness that's happening here. Oh my goodness. Okay, so there's my sheet on the wall.
Magic is now ruined.
Oh, it's completely ruined. It's gonna be just decimated. Got my X-Men poster.
Oh, the magic is now restored.
Fantastic. And then we're renovating. So
Oh, I see. Oh, of course. I
tearing up
recognize
my
the line
floor.
of board where you're tearing up things. Wow. So what are you gonna
So,
do down here?
well, we're turning this into, so like this is like gonna be like a bar.
Oh, nice.
I still
Ooh,
have a lot of work
okay.
to do on this. Got to do a bunch of finishing work.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but then we're gonna put down some stuff. We're gonna put a TV in the corner there,
Oh,
and
are
then
you making a man cave?
no,
Is that what you're doing?
this is the flex space. This is the flex space. The Bowflex is gonna go in here. My elliptical, all of our weights and whatever. This is the man cave. This is my. Oh yeah, of course I've got the typical, typical. Hey, I'm such a man. My goodness. But yeah, so no,
Hey, it's
that's
important. That's great.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
that's so
so
fun.
much work. I hate it. I very
The
much.
time lapses make it interesting.
I'm trying. Oh shit! I haven't finished that one. I did a time lapse of. There was a fridge down here that I dragged up to the garage yesterday, and I opened it. And I'm like, oh. It was like there was mold in the freezer. Like
Oh
I was like,
no.
oh geez. So I did like a time lapse of me like cleaning it up. And I still have to put it all together yet because I did some like as I put the camera, I put my phone on a tripod inside the thing, and then I opened the door, and I'm like, oh, and I'm smoking a pipe while I'm doing it too. And I'm still, like I could be smelling anything other than the pipe, you know. I'm such an idiot, but I'm just gonna make it stupid, and then I'll just put it on Instagram. And
Perfect.
that'll be
Do
fun.
you find that time lapses actually make the shit like just more doable for some reason?
Do you know what? It kind of does. I got this stupid thing. I got this. Speaking of things you buy from Amazon, I got this little tripod from Amazon, and it
Yeah.
has this little. This thing is so much handier than I thought it would be, because
Oh,
you
I've
set up
seen
your
those.
shot first, and then you just set it to whatever thing you need, and you
Yeah.
just press the button, and it has a plus and a minus on it, and I don't know what that means. I think that might be for Zoom or something. I haven't tried it yet because I'm a moron, but it worked great.
More beauty filter, more beauty filter, more beauty.
Do you know what's funny? This thing, this Zoom has a like a beauty filter, like a make me look better thing. I can't remember what the hell it's called. And so I was fucking with it the other day, like just looking at myself. All it does is make you blurry.
Pretty much. Yeah, it just
I'm like,
blurs your skin thing. Yeah. No, absolutely.
that's like having an agreement with your focus puller if you're on a show. You know what I mean? Like, don't focus too tightly when you come up on a close up. Just I don't get all
It's
the wrinkles.
right? It's amazing, like the power behind them though. Like, cause some of them are like so strong. Like, do you know the ones where I do an Instagram where it changes my hair color? Like, it's quite wild. So I showed one of the guys that I was doing for this Pulp Fiction short how powerful it was, and of course, it gives you fucking eyelashes and shit.
Yeah. Oh. My kid does those things, right? She'll do those things, and she recorded one. I have one on my YouTube, on the YouTube channel for this podcast, and it's she's puts on one of those ones that gives you like eyelashes and like an ears and like a bunny nose or something. Did I lose you? I see you're frozen. Uh-oh. Technical difficulties. I knew I should have ended 5 minutes ago. Oh,
You are.
that was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to deal with in the when when I look at the recording. It's going to be like, is there just an empty space there?
It's just both of us going.
Yeah, because your side froze, and then I'm like, I can't hear any ambient.
Oh no.
And now it's clipping again. We should probably end anyway. It's probably.
We'll end it here. Yeah.
We'll end it here, and I'll just some
fun.
editing.
Thank you.
This was a lot. Oh, thank you. I mean, I'm the one asking people to talk to me. I understand how difficult that can be sometimes.
I enjoy it immensely, but I like talking to weirdos.
Perfect. That's a t-shirt. I want to get that made as a t-shirt now. I enjoy talking to weirdos. And then on the back, it'll say, yes, you.
Perfect.
I need to start a t-shirt company.
Wild.
Yes. That'd be fantastic. Okay, well, Nina, thank you very, very much for being on my podcasts. My
All right.
podcast that's called Bad Dad and the Sad Girl at the moment.
Oh yeah, I'm following. It's great.
Very, very strange.
Well, have fun with your sheet.
Yes, thank you. I think I might actually have my kid on next week, and so Bad Dad and the Sad
Oh,
Girl will
cool.
actually be Bad Dad and the Sad Girl. But that's entirely dependent on whether or not she watches the Batman movie that I sent her. So, so we can do a critique, and she can piss and
Oh,
moan.
perfect.
She's very, very particular about her Batman movies.
Oh, that
I don't know
reminds me
where
of the
she got
Key of
that
Awesome.
from.
You ever seen the Key of Awesome?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
The Key
YouTube
of
Key of
Awesome.
Awesome. It's
Okay.
a comedic group that parody movies, and
Oh,
Batman's
cool.
one of the best ones. It's good. It's real good.
I've always
I'll
enjoyed
leave
that
that with you.
Key of Awesome. Okay, I have to look
Key
that
of
up.
Awesome.
I'll look that up immediately after we're done.
Mhm.
Okay, well,
All
it's
right,
awesome
sir.
to see you.
Likewise. I can't
Hopefully
wait to
next
see you in
time.
real life.
Yes. Real life is more better than, but this is pretty good. This is better than nothing,
This
that's
is
for
pretty
sure.
good. This is pretty good.
Yeah.
More better. That was nice.
I speak good English.
All right, well, get out of here, you little scam.
All right, I'll do that. Okay, well,
All right. Well,
thanks a
enjoy the
lot.
rest of your Sunday.
Yeah, you too. We'll see you later.
Bye, Walter.
Bye.